What's up, friends? Thank you so much for tuning into the From the Captain's Quarters podcast. It is brought to you by Captain Coop's Beard Company. Check us out on the web at CaptainCoops.com. Beard and body stuff, so not just for the dudes, also for the ladies with our Queen's Treasure line. We're talking CBD body butters, body lotions, tattoo balm, and personal lubricant. It's called Tortuga. You're going to love it. Still got the stuff for the beards as well. Beard oils, beard balms, beard butters. Take care of your stuff, top shelf. Better beard, better booty, better body, better booty as well. CaptainCoops.com and use the promo code PODCAST at checkout to get 10% off your first order. The show is also brought to you by Apeiron Northfields. All your CBD needs, whatever it is. If you need gummies, they got the D8s, they got D9s, tinctures, stuff for your pets. They literally have it all. Formerly Everything Hemp LLC, so still check out their website at everythinghempllc.com and get in with a family-owned and family-operated organization. It is Apeiron Northfields. It's Warren G, not the Warren G, the other Warren G.
No.
Warren Garrett is back on the From the Captain's Quarters podcast. My buddy, I want to say hello to you first and foremost, and second off, we are now internet famous. As of today, we are internet famous. Congratulations.
We are. Dude, we made it to the big time. We really did.
But
you think Blake Shelton saw that?
I think he's the one running their socials for Old Red. I'm pretty sure it's just Blake, clearly.
Right, yeah. He's just sitting on his couch trying to figure out what to repost.
Got nothing else to do. He's like, hey, this is a good picture of Warren Garrett. We're going to put this on the Old Red socials. So I will backtrack the story, and then we'll lead up to today. So, Warren's been on the show before, which was great, and he's finally got lighting in his house now. For those who watched the live show last time,
I remembered to pay the bill this time.
Yeah, he was called out. Like, are you in the dark? Like, what is going on over there? But had a chance finally to make it down to Nashville, and Warren was playing at Old Red one night, and we decided. Here's how. So like the background. We probably talked about this, but when a credit card ends up at the bar, recollection maybe few and far between, and that's what happened when we were there. But so Warren and I are talking. We get down to Nashville, and we were kind of chatting back and forth. He's like, "Hey, I'm playing Old Red on Wednesday night. Y'all should come down. Wednesday afternoon, evening, whatever days, time travel." So we're like, "Cool." So we get an Uber down there, and you're already jamming out. We're like, "Oh, we'll get something to eat. We'll hang out. We'll watch our set, and then we'll kind of either meander back home or go and check out other stuff."
Right.
That didn't happen.
No, it did not.
What had happened was when we're around, friends, and I consider Warren a great friend down there. I was like, let's get him a shot of whiskey. It's a good idea. We're sitting at in our booth, and
that's how it starts.
And that's how it began. And then we meandered. We're like, oh, well, we got done with dinner. We're like, oh, we meandered over to the bar, and I knew it. I had like $40 in cash, and I threw it down. I'm like, I'll drink Coors Lights until that's gone.
Right.
Well, that was gone really quick because Nashville.
Right.
And as soon as Nicole busts out the credit card, and I was like, oh, we're out of cash. I guess she's like, I put the card out. I'm like, well, I guess we're having a party now.
Here we go.
It's on. Which it was great. Watching you.
Dude, it's so much fun.
Yeah, watching you hang and Garrett, and then we got a chance to meet Josh Gallagher, who was on the show last week. It was a great night, but I took a picture. I took a lot of pictures. That's what I do. I took a great picture of you on stage, boot in the air. And if you look at the whole picture, which I think I sent you, the whole picture is you are the main focus, but like up on top, you can see the big screen, which is it's super fucking rad. So
it's awesome.
I think I posted that. I think you posted that picture.
Yeah, I did.
And so Old Red, Blake's place down in Nashville, was like, hey, can we use this on our socials? And I'm like, for the right price. No, I'm like, absolutely. You can use it.
And the bidding starts now.
I'm like, I want, as much exposure from my guy as like as we can get. And like,
Dude,
it took,
that.
Today was the day. Today was the day they finally posted it. And like I said, now we're internet famous.
Well, how storybook is that? Like, they must have known that we were doing the podcast today.
It's eerily coincidental. What I think is, since Blake's running shit, he's like, I bet you those fellas are going to have a conversation tonight. We should post this to hype up the episode. So thank you, Blake. And
we appreciate Blake.
And So I scanned the comments right before we came on here, and it's, I was like, yeah, fire, and you're like, yeah, and then some lady is like, what's going on with you, Blake? I'm like,
yeah, I saw that. I was like, I guess I'll take that as a compliment because he's a whole lot taller than me.
And also, some people should not use the internet.
Yeah, that's no. Don't discourage them because it's hilarious. Because then we get to go.
True.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, I had to rub my eyes. Like, I mean, it's close. I mean, in a dark room, maybe it's a resemblance, but
in a dark room without any where you used to measure yourself on the door or anything like that. Because he's probably 2 feet solid taller than I am.
No pencil marks, no nothing. It's just straight up. You got to shoot it here as an amateur photographer. It's all about angles, man.
Exactly.
It's all about. In so many ways, it's all about angles and lighting.
We'll have to talk about that later because I need all the help I can. Speaking of, dude, that picture is badass. I appreciate it.
Oh, it turned out super cool, and like I said, it was one of those. Like, I loved especially when we go places. Whenever I go on a work adventure with Max Bill, we travel. We did the whole Oregon Trail. An old Jeep thing. I just love capturing really cool moments. So when we go cool places, I'm like, man, it's you take 25 pictures and you get one that's super rad. And that was just this moment. We didn't rehearse that shit. We were just
dude.
I'm like, Coors Light and whiskey for my guy and whiskey for me and whiskey for that person. I don't even know where they are. And
I don't even know who they are. We just met. They seem awesome.
We got the bill. I'm pretty sure we met some people, and we bought them some drinks.
Oh, I believe that.
Otherwise, yeah. I have a problem. I probably should talk to somebody about it.
I should be laying on the couch right now.
But it was just one of those cool pictures that was in the moment, and I'm so glad that we captured it. And thank you again to #OldRed for sharing that with their 72,000 followers.
Yeah, y'all go check out the picture because it's awesome. Yeah. Either on Coop Social, My Social, and Old Red. Since Blake was posting stuff today.
So, great guy. Thanks, Blake. We appreciate the plug.
It was awful sweet, everybody.
Oh, but dude, seriously, it was great to get a chance to get down there to see you perform and to get a chance to hang out. Kind of between your sets and then after you guys were done. And for me, and how long have you been in Nashville? When did you make the move?
Dude, I moved up in 2015 for the first time, but this is actually my second go around with my this is my second round, going head to head with Nashville. So I've been back for probably 4 years now, 5 years, something like that.
I learned I've had this weird connection to Nashville between radio career and kind of what I was doing with the podcast. I'm still doing with the podcast is reaching out to artists, and never have I. And I don't understand Nashville, but I have a real, clear view of what that city is all about now, it's so cool. It's an amazing place. The amount of talent that's down there is off the charts, and just seeing the way that Broadway functions and not Broadway functions, it's wild to me just to see it and to really try to start to get a grasp on how it all works, because you can play a place like Old Red, you can play there's Tootsie's, all the places that are on Broadway. You can go to a place like Live Oak and you can and see all the singer songwriters that are on there. It's such a cool dynamic of I hate to quote Jason Aldean since it's a Blake Shelton show, but
sponsored by.
Thank you, Old Red. If you can just refund half of that bill, that would pay my rent. That would be great. We budgeted for that. Dude, I'm from Wisconsin. I was like, wait, how much? That's a Busch Light, man. What's happening?
What's that? What are you putting in it?
Is there magic underneath this can? There was.
It's a magic beer.
The magic was I time traveled from Old Red to Kid Rock's, and I was like, that's weird. I don't remember. A to B. It's weird, but I'm here now.
Magically, I'm here.
Ta-da.
Yeah, that is the magic of Broadway, is that you will go to 15 bars, remember 2.
Yep. That's pretty much how it happened. I'm like, where so there were some Elvis bar and then a Johnny Cash bar and then we're at Kid Rock's, and I'm like, I swear to God, we were just at, did we close our tab? Is that still open? I hope. Well, oops. But to quote Jason Aldean, I mean, everybody plays, everybody sings.
Yep.
I mean, it was so cool to be able to really see that, and for me to see you, because I've seen your live stuff on YouTube and your social media stuff, but to see that raw acoustic ability to be able to perform in that, I know it's not the greatest environment to perform. You got people that are eating, you got people that are. I mean, it's a come and go audience. They're until you get kind of later on, and we noticed that as it got later, like the crowd engagement. It ebbs and flows.
It does, yeah.
But it's so cool to be able to see you as an artist and all the artists that we got a chance to see down there, be able to just kind of, hey, I don't know that one, but give me a second. Or I haven't played this, in 6 years, but I'll figure it out. So it's just it's awe inspiring to be able to see the amount of talent that not only you have, but the artists that are down there, just to be able to go and for the fan, and especially in the times that we're living in, or times that we have been living in, when
these unprecedented times,
the new norm, fuck the new normal. All right, that's that's great. Fuck it. That's what I say. Because
by the way, I saw the new merch. Can we get a shirt that says that? 'Cause I would rock that.
Absolutely. I'll put you on the list, man.
Yes.
But it was so cool for us, to go down to a place like Nashville, and at 1:00 in the afternoon, learning some things the hard way, like don't park down there.
Oh no.
Oops. But secondly, third, like $9.99 for the first hour, great. $46 for the second.
Yep.
Oops. But to be able to walk out of our parking spot, I'm like, we learned shit. Uber, it costs like $20 to get down there, so we learned that. But when you walk out, we got out of the car, the first time we parked down there, and you just hear music, like everywhere. 1:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. It was so refreshing, and I want to get your perspective on, like, to live there and embrace that, and obviously be a part of that on the daily. And a guy who's in music, like, how energetic is that every single day to know that there's always music, there's always a place for you to play, there's always people for you to meet and to co-write with and to work with on things. It's got to be a great environment for you.
Yeah, first of all, by the way, it was awesome to see y'all down there. I had a hell of a lot of fun, especially because that was the perfect show to catch me at as far as in town too, because me and Garrett have been friends. And I told you, but I tell everybody listening, the guy I was playing with is a good buddy of mine, one of my best friends. His name's Garrett Spear. Shout out to Garrett. And he is awesome. But he and I have played together a lot over the years. And so we're both very comfortable playing with each other and bouncing off of each other and stuff like that, and just kind of letting the show be whatever it is, whether there's, 1,000 people there or whether there's 2 people there. It's he and I are going to have fun. And so that was a ton of fun. But to answer your question, I love this town, and I'll never live anywhere else. Because of the things that you mentioned, because that so many people are in the industry, and if they're not, they were, or if they're not, they love music, they love creating, they love creative people, they love, and anywhere, even the surrounding towns around Nashville, there's a lot of that. And so I love it. It's also daunting knowing that too, that you really did show up here to figure out who you were among the best of the best in the world. But I mean, that's what I wanted when I came here. Yeah. It's like, I want to sink or swim. I want to do it or don't. And I want to go up against, I want not against in a competitive sense, but I want to be around and see if I can hang with, the best musicians in the world.
Yeah. Do you find that being in that environment on the day-to-day basis, that there's a lot of absorption? Like, there's things that you're really good at, and this is generally across the board with any talent or with anything that you do, is you're good at things, you're great at things, and there's things you need to work on. Do you find yourself, like, when you're just out, or when you're at, maybe you're at Garrett's show, and it's just him doing his thing, or him and his band doing his thing, that there's just so much like I feel like this industry, the music industry, and especially in a city like Nashville, like there's no end to the learning. There's not an end to, well, I got this figured out. I got guitar figured out. I got my vocals figured out. I got my stage presence figured out. I feel like there's always the ability to go out on a given night, on a given day, and just absorb new things and new sounds and new ways to, to improve yourself. Do you find that to be the case?
Oh yeah. Well, I've always believed in it, especially it's kind of honed in for me over the last couple of years, is that if you're not learning, if you're not growing, then you're moving backwards. There is no middle. There's no like stagnation. You're just moving backwards if you're not progressing. And so that's really something I've tried to embrace. And even when I do go out to a friend's show, or when friends come to my shows, the best compliment you're ever going to get from a musician is this right here. Because they're going, shit, you figured out something I didn't, or I didn't see that and you saw that, or something like that, or your guitar player just played something dirty, or I could tell you guys rehearsed that for 6 hours and that was awesome, and so it's an encouraging thing. But yeah, I mean, and I'd say most of the people that I write with and work with all the time kind of have the same mentality. It's like, whether it's your writing or your production value, or learning a new skill that is something to do with the industry, with traveling or something like that. I mean, for me, I try to push myself to move forward. I try to push myself to be uncomfortable, because that's the only way I get any better.
And you get a chance to get out, out of Nashville and do shows and do some traveling. Even though I tried my damnedest to get you just to like drive down to Florida.
Dude, I wish I could have.
I was like,
oh God,
what are you doing? It's only like 12 hours, You're like, I'm going north. I'm like, dude, I'm just telling you, south is better right now.
South is better.
Just right now. Because we tried to leave. Nashville wanted us to fucking stay, because we tried to leave and there was a snowstorm. And we're like, A, thought we were getting away from this shit. And B, nobody down there knows how to drive in snow. No offense. No clue.
Oh, you ain't going to offend me.
It's like, it's going to be okay, people. Like you also can't take the exit ramp at 60 when there's snow and ice, because we saw this cars just lined up and they just took, whoop, you missed it.
Yep, or just diving off into ditches like left and right. Like nobody's getting hurt, but they're just because you hit a patch of snow and freak out and overcorrect, and then they're in a ditch. And you're like, ugh. But yeah, no, I mean, we shut the county down, man. Like, I mean, I've been all over the country this year, particularly when it was snowing, more so than I've been anywhere. And so trying to watch them drive and learn from them to apply it down here. But I mean, it doesn't matter down here. Like I said, we shut the county down. If somebody sneezes the word snow, we're done. We're done, and we're done till it's gone. Like call us in March when it starts to warm up. We're just gonna stay in our houses and hang out until the snow melts.
Yeah, we stopped at a gas station. I think it was that Wednesday, and I'm talking to the the lady paying for gas or whatever, and she's from Texas.
Yeah.
Blatantly. Like I'm like,
blatantly.
I know where you're from, but she did tell me 7 or 8 times, so I was clear on it. And she was like,
they always do when from Texas.
Where are you from? And I was like, well, we're from Wisconsin. She's like, well, just to let you know, there's snow coming tomorrow, and these assholes can't drive in it. I'm like, you're from Texas. You're from Texas. She's like, yeah. We get nice and we get ice. We get those two things, and we can drive. We figured out how to drive on ice. People in Tennessee, not quite yet. I was like, noted. And then I went to see your show, and I forgot all about the fact that it was supposed to snow the next day until we were trying to leave. And we got up. We're like, wait, are we home? Like, are we back? Are we back home? There's like 4 inches of snow on the ground. But long route around to my question. When you get a chance to leave and go and play shows all around the country, like what is that like, knowing that when you're done with that show, you're playing in Chicago, or you're playing in Nebraska, or you're playing in Nevada, wherever, you get to come back to Nashville? I mean, that's like I have to go back to Bozeman, no, you're going to Nashville. I mean, is that, it feels great to be like, especially if you do like a string of dates, a bunch of dates in a row, and you want to get back home and sleep in your own bed and all that stuff. But you get to sleep back home in Nashville. That's got to be pretty cool for an artist to call home.
It is, man. I mean, it's a really, like I said, it's a really cool town, and I mean, part of the thing that you kind of start to notice when artists move here or something like that is that, and I was used to be the same way really bad, but I know that it's kind of it I want to say it's gotten better, but it probably still hasn't because I still brag about being like, no, yeah, we're from Nashville, we're a
Right.
Nashville band, and that carries a certain weight. It really does. I mean, there's you know saying that you're from here and that you live here and that you play here, that tends to carry a little weight, and and which I think it's cool. I think it should. I think it's earned that. I think the city's history and even the city's current state, as far as music and
Mhm.
production goes and innovation in music, I think it's earned that, and so it is. It's a really cool place, and it's a cool place to come back to. I live about probably 30 minutes outside of the city
Mhm.
now. I did live in the city last year. Um, I guess year before. It was 2020. Lived in the city when all that stuff hit. And it was cool to live in a city and be 7 minutes away from Losers in Midtown for an Uber ride. That was awesome. But I grew up in South Carolina, man, and I grew up in the country. So I was like, I gotta get me somewhere with a
Yeah.
little more grass and
Mhm.
a little more couple country stores and stuff like that. So, but I do. I mean, I love that. I love Tennessee, man. I love living in the South and just the whole culture, but especially like you say around Nashville, the music and the people here. It's something special. And I'm going to say this, and somebody's going to beat me to it because I've been saying this for a minute, but I'm going to write a song about this place one day called the Island of Misfit Toys. And it's where all these creatives that don't necessarily fit in anywhere else or fit in the 9 to 5s. I mean, you've been around musicians,
Yeah.
like you say, in radio and doing podcasts and stuff like that. I mean, most of us are weird. Most of us are a little off, and it seems like just this melting pot of all. I mean, and people when they think about Nashville, they typically think about country music, but there's so
Yeah.
many genres here. I mean, and there's so many people that are incredible at those genres here, whether it's rock or rap or R&B or country and blues. And I mean, I don't know if I think I said pop, but or pop. I mean, there's some incredible pop artists here. I mean, so it's just a melting pot for all this creativity, and it's really
Yeah. I mean, having spoken to many artists over 20 some odd years, I'm not going to age myself, but a long ass time
cool.
before
Over for years.
before Y2K. Anybody remember Y2K? No, nobody remembers Y2K. No, they're all too young, but that's fine.
Uh,
I'm cool with that. But that's one of the big things that not only did I learn obviously secondhand, but just in observation and always asked, like, there's one thing about really liking music, and that's where I found myself growing up. It's like I was a huge fan of music. I kind of tried it out a little bit, picked up a guitar a little bit, and then but it just wasn't my jam.
right.
And I always tell artists, I'm like, you have very not easy paths in life because I don't want to say anything is like given to you, but there are things where it's like if you wanted to even become a doctor, there is a pathway to become a doctor.
Right.
You get good grades in high school, and then you go to college, and you go to like 35 years of the medical school, and then you can become a doctor.
35 years of medical school.
I round up, but there's a path to it, and it's not always easy. If you wanted to become anything else besides a musician, there is a well mapped out way to get there.
Right.
Now, you have to have a certain level of passion for music to be like, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to travel around, probably in a van with a bunch of dudes that
Right.
probably don't shower for a couple days. I want to make very little money for a while. And then in Nashville is like next level stuff because you're like,
Right.
now I want to go to the Mecca. I want to go to the place where all of the greats live and all of the second greats live and the third tier and because it's a level system, obviously.
Oh yeah.
I want to go there and cut my teeth, where everybody has, and if they haven't, they should have cut their teeth from that moving into Nashville from South Carolina and then working your way, having to go and play for free, having to go and play for tips, having to go work your way, beg and plead to get a spot, and then beg and plead to get a better spot, and then be able to make a career out of it. Like, none of that shit is easy.
Oh, no, dude.
And none of it's guaranteed. Like, if you, college isn't necessarily, but if you want to get a job at a gas station and work your way up, you certainly can. There's a path to do it. The obstacles are show up and do your job and listen to your boss. This is like fucking curveballs everywhere you go, not being at the right place at the right time, being at the right place at the right time, but not with the right person. Like, it's such a crapshoot. So you have to have this real certain passion for it, because I'm sure you've known people. I'm sure you have known people that thought they had it, and then they were like, you know what else sounds good? Cleaning houses. Because I know if I go and do my job, I get a paycheck. I know I can get to go home after every day of work. I know I don't have to go in a Sprinter van with a bunch of dudes for an extended period of time, especially in the summer, man. I get it. Like, I've been in those Sprinter vans with interviewing artists. I'm like, was there a death? Like, is there a body like in the, like, it's cool.
Happened?
Like, I have shovels and shit. I'm from Wisconsin. Like, I'll find you a spot, but I just need to know.
I can probably help you out with this.
I just want to know what happened here. But I mean, it really, but it takes such a level of love for what you do to be able to do it, because it's not the overnight success bullshit is exactly that. Like,
oh yeah, it is. It's complete bullshit.
Even emerging artists, Chris Stapleton didn't just bust onto the fucking scene, No. It's
that dude had written songs for everybody.
And that's outside of, again, I feel like a little bit of the veil has been lifted just from being down there and obviously knowing people that are doing exactly what you're doing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm like,
and the more you come down here, the more that'll kind of happen. You'll see more and more of how this really works, And I mean, you do have to be passionate, but you also have to be a little stupid.
I was wondering. I'm like, is he either going stupid or he's going crazy, or maybe a combination of the both?
Well, you got to be a little bit of both. But I mean, like, I'm never going to claim to be the smartest guy for trying to do this, but I think that subconsciously, because especially at the time, man, because I've known I wanted to do this, like that I wanted to do it for a career since I was 16. Yeah. It was like I always want to go play music. But I think that part of what attracted me to music, to the industry, to the scene, is that ever evolving challenge. Mm-hmm. Is that it's not necessarily something you can catch. It's not, you can't show up and then. That's why you see artists that have been in the game that are huge for years and years and years. They're still chasing it. They're still doing it. They're still chasing a different sound. They're still chasing a different show. They're still putting out songs because they're still chasing that dragon. And I mean, I love that. I love that in a sense that you're chasing something that you're never necessarily going to catch. But I will say too that, I mean, you're talking about there being a defined path. I mean, dude, I tried it. I'll be honest. I'll be the first person to tell anybody that after a couple years in Nashville, I got discouraged and I was like, okay, I'm going to go try the day-to-day thing. And I hated it. I was depressed. I was depressed and gained a bunch of weight and didn't want to talk to anybody. And it was like, well, what's wrong with me? I had to, look in the mirror one day. I was like, what's going on? And it turns out it's like, man, I can't not do it. I can't not play music. I can't not create in some form or fashion, not to be overly dramatic about it, but, that's what happened in my head. It's like, okay, I need to be creating. I need a new challenge every day. I can't, I want something different, a little different every day, And so every show, every song, every sets, everything is just a little bit different. It's just different enough to go, okay, cool. I can learn or grow or view this as a new challenge, So, but you do have to be a little crazy to do this.
I agree. And how important though? I mean, you talk about that moment, and I don't think it's overly dramatic, because I think that there is an importance to that moment, because that is like, I'm sure there are artists that kind of go through that. They make the move to Nashville, or maybe they're, they achieve some sort of success in their area, their town, their state, their region, whatever, and they decide to make that move, and they get discouraged. They get to a point where they're just like, this isn't walk in, going to Tootsie's, and they give you, the door slot with the band that night, and then the right guy walks in, and oh well, shit, here you go, here's your contract. We're gonna pay for your first tour. Like, let's make shit happen. Like, I imagine that there's a lot of people that go through that experience and get discouraged, and whether it's move back home or whether it's move somewhere else, move out of the city, but they don't ever have that moment that you talk about. They don't have that moment where they have to look themselves in the mirror and say, fuck, like I can't not do that. Whatever it takes to do that, I have to do that. There's probably plenty of talent that got there, wasn't what they thought, turned around, got the 9 to 5, whatever, and they're like, I shot my shot.
Right.
But they didn't have that fucking Michael Jackson man in the mirror moment where they're like, like, I can't do anything else. Like, this is what I do, and hell or high water, whatever it takes to do it, I'm going to do that, because this will kill me. This probably also will kill me if fucking Cooper keeps coming to town with his double whiskeys on a Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. So I wasn't playing. I just had to take pictures of this shit and try to remember it. But it's.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy you a 12-pack of Coke and bring it next time. It's like, hand these to everybody.
Everybody gets a soda. Yeah. Then Blake will come out and he'll kick me out for bringing in stuff, bad things, man. Because he also runs security.
Right. Yeah, that dude's wearing a bunch of hats and old red, man.
Huh.
He's posting shit on Instagram.
He's probably running sound. It's nonstop. But like,
somebody doesn't show up, he has to get up and play a set.
Fine. What do you want to hear? Play some Waylon. Oh, all right, fine. but it's
wagon wheel.
Oh God! Everybody now, play it again. But that this is what you were born to do, especially when you talk about knowing at 16 that this is what you wanted to do. I mean,
oh yeah, man.
And knowing outside of, like, I thought at 16 I was going to go to school at Notre Dame and play, I was going to be a starting cornerback, and then I was going to get drafted by the Packers. It's a different dream, man. It's a different dream.
It's still a dream, though, man. That's awesome. I was never good enough at sports to be like, oh man, I'm going to nope.
Oh, well, I wasn't that good. It was just my dream, It
was just my dream. Just what I wanted.
Where I came from an Irish family, right? So, like, my grandfather would have the Notre Dame game on like every Saturday. And I was like, so we're like, what's the, like, I get it. They're the Fighting Irish, but I'm guessing they're not all Irish, right? He's like, it doesn't matter. It's green. It's gold. We're watching it. And we're going to drink brandy. I'm like, I'm 8. So cool. This is my problem with really expensive drinks. I'm like, too much. Yeah.
Yep.
But it's, there's having that dream of, like, I'm going to do this. And then, like, sticking to your guns, and then having that man in the mirror moment, and then coming back and being like, whatever it takes, man. It's like guns blazing. We're doing shit.
Dude, we'll see if that is the right way to look at it. I mean, because I'm either too stupid or too stubborn to give up. And I'm lucky to be one of the guys that in Nashville that made it through, COVID, and made it through the last year, especially because even post-COVID, I mean, for anybody out there that doesn't know, it was still hard to get shows. It was still hard to, because everybody all at the same time is clamoring for, it's like for work, for anything to do. And, I'm one of the guys that's blessed, like I said, to make it through. But man, I just completely lost my train of thought, but I decided a long time ago that hell or high water, no matter where it turns out, that I'm still one of the lucky ones. I'm one of the lucky ones that gets to create music, that gets to play on, play in the greatest city for music on the planet, and I get to do that, and then still get to go out on the road with my buddies, just four guys in a big white van,
Right.
Kicking around the country trying to make some money, playing our songs, man. I mean, I listened to Waylon songs that were talking about that, and I remember thinking as a kid, my dad listened to Waylon being like, man, I want to do that,
Right.
and I did. I can say that I've gotten to do that, and I'm gonna take it as far as the good Lord lets me take it, but I wake up every day really happy to get to play music.
We talked about, living in Nashville and eating it, breathing it every single day, and now you've incorporated it into your career. But being on the road, getting out and doing shows, I know the last however fucking long has been kind of a pain in the ass to get and go and do those things. Obviously, last year was probably a little bit better. This year, obviously, things are looking up. But like that moment that you talked about, being in that van with your dudes, going to play shows, towns you've been to, towns you haven't been to, things you've experienced, places you haven't played before. Like, is that, of all the things you get to do, and it's probably tough to pick a favorite because there's probably like nuanceical things about each thing that you're like, no, I love this about songwriting. I love this about being able to play Broadway, playing off Broadway, playing shows. Like, but is getting out of town, even though it's the greatest town for music, is getting out of town and going and playing somewhere with your boys, just tearing it up. Is that your favorite? Because it feels like that's as horrible as I made it sound with it smells like a dead body.
Oh, none of those
like
are
it's
good.
still,
Sometimes it does, man.
Especially with dudes. Like I get it. Like
take four boys to a Taco Bell and see what happens.
We have 17 hours of travel ahead of us. Let's stop at a Taco Bell. Good idea. I mean, I feel bad for is like, I don't feel bad because they're living their dream. But like female artists who have to travel in that same van with a bunch of dudes, like, man, that poor girl. Like apologize.
So on behalf of me and Coop, on behalf of me and Coop, to our female artists out there, we're sorry for our gender.
It's just the way we raised, man. Like we don't know any. Like
we don't know any better.
We talked about being stupid. It's just in our DNA. We don't know.
We're just gonna give every male musician we see a candle to take with him on the road.
Yeah, your next tour is gonna be sponsored by Bath and Body Works, man. Just be like,
dude. At this point, I'll take anybody.
Sure,
money. Sure, absolutely.
Does it come with a check? That's what we not. Oh, free candles. I mean, I guess I'll take it.
Sweet, my bass player loves candles.
See, but do you listen? I mean, being on the road, doing shows, like, is that still? I mean, that just sounds like a big piece of the pie that makes you smile every day.
I love it, dude. I love it, but I'm learning how to do it better, if that makes sense. Something I've learned recently, especially, is that, I want to, like I was saying earlier, as far as like, if you're not learning, then you're falling back and you're moving backwards if you're not moving forward. And I believe that. And so being on the road is something that I love a lot. Rolling into a new town in front of a brand new crowd, people you've never seen before. And it's your job to make those people feel something when you sing your songs, make them have a good time and have a few drinks when you're singing everybody else's songs, and really reaching out and connecting with people that you met, you didn't even get to meet. You just got thrown up on a stage in front of, is a cool feeling, and it's a cool challenge. And I love it. I'm starting to focus a little more on, if we're going to go out, when we go out on the road, to be a little more focused on, we want some opportunities to showcase what we do and what we sound like and our songs and stuff like that, so we're focusing more on things like that this year. But I do, man, I love that challenge and the camaraderie of, you get in a van with three other dudes, there's four guys in the van, and you're rolling, sometimes the way it works out, you're rolling 10 and a half hours one way playing a show, rolling 10 and a half hours back, and three of your buddies that are brave enough, passionate enough, and dumb enough to get in a van to do that with you. It's a special camaraderie. It's a special thing. It's and it makes it easy to create with those guys. And so, I mean, it was one of the things like that I really wanted to do when in music, and over the past year and a half, maybe 2 years, I've got to do that. Really experience that whole, that whole kind of legend that you hear about people starting to play music.
That's so cool, dude. And how cool is it? And I want to talk about the fellers in the band. I know they are going to one of these episodes, man. We're going to have them on. We're just going to have a jam. We're going to drink whiskey and have a jam session and
absolutely. It'll be a shit show, but it'll be fun to watch,
dude. We're going to do it live and just see what happens. Sorry, we apologize in advance. We'll burn some candles. Call it good. I don't care.
Burn some candles.
It's okay.
Apologize for all of our cancelable moments.
Sorry, this is either great PR or really bad. It's not. It's nowhere in between. But it feels like you have a great group that you roll with. That the guys in the band, your guys, like it's a cohesive unit. Like the pieces are in place. Like, was that a struggle? Like, was it a struggle to find the right pieces? Like, how does that formulation happen to get to know? And again, you mentioned crazy because we talked about this. You have to be crazy to do this. Like, hey, get in the van and we're going to go 10 hours that way and play a 3-hour show and turn it back around. It'll be fun.
You got to buy a ticket to the crazy train.
Choo choo. It's coming through. But how does that process go to try to find all the right pieces? Is it meeting people? Is it going to shows being like, man, I really like, this guitar player fits is what I want it to look and sound like, when I'm out doing shows. How does that process work for you?
Man, I mean, I know you hear people say it all the time. It's the who you know thing. Mm-hmm. But a couple of guys in the band, it was because I knew some really great musicians that I was like, hey, do you know anybody else? And I tell them that my guitar player and my drummer, my bass player actually responded to an ad on Facebook 4 years ago for me asking for a roommate, and he's been stuck with me ever since. So. He tells everybody he's like, yeah, I have to pay him rent and play for him, so I'm just obligated to hang out with this dude.
We never are apart. We're always together.
No, he's a great guy. I mean, so it was intentional for me. It was something that I was looking for. I was like, I want to build a band. I want to build something that, we can be creative together. We can be, work on a show and really get everybody's creative input, because I don't necessarily just trust myself to build the best thing in the world, and so I want to have 3 other people that I trust going, hey, you're really good at this. This is your instrument. This is your area. And they bring their experiences to the table too and go, well, you may have not done that before, but I've done that before, or, he's done this thing or he's done that thing. And you really get a better sense of how to build a show and how to build out a song and the different parts. And I mean, it's made me a better musician. I feel like it's made me a better songwriter. I mean, and even in the sense, not in the sense that, sitting down and writing with the guys, but more so the way they think about songs and approach songs when I bring them my songs. It's made me walk into a write with that mentality going, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to write this because, or I'm going to put this part in here because one of my guys said this or that, and and so it pushes you, which was what I wanted. I wanted a group of guys that pushed each other to be better, and I tried to be intentional about finding that, and I was blessed to have found it and to found guys, especially in Nashville, man, because Nashville's a real hired gun city.
Yeah,
it's a real, this guy went out on that tour, this guy went on that tour, that guy went on this tour. You don't hear people playing for 15, 20 years together anymore, which I wanted. I listening to all the songs, like the Waylon songs, like I've seen the world with a 5-piece band, and so that's what I wanted. I wanted the adventure aspect of that, and the feeling like you're in a pirate ship in the middle of the ocean with people and you got to figure out how to do it, to stick with the theme of the podcast. You like that?
I get it. I like how you wrap that all nice up into a nice little package there. Pirate.
But yeah, man, I did it on purpose. So
kudos.
It was something I was trying to do.
It's got to be refreshing to have that level of trust with because the hired gun thing kind of threw this into my brain. Like, we have a bass player coming in for this, we're doing a weekend of shows and we just have this bass player coming in. Here, we're going to throw some practices together, go out and do this run and come back.
Right.
But to have like a solidified group of talented artists that you trust enough to like really absorb, like, man, like this is how he plays. This is how he, vibes with this particular type of song or this chorus or this, this live part of this live performance. Like, because you've heard stories about lead singers who it's more like a dictatorship and they're like,
right.
Here's how we're going to do it. I'm sorry, here's how you're going to do it because this is what I said. But to be able to,
right.
Be open enough to bring all that in, that has to be a relief for you to know you got the guys, you understand each other. There's a real cohesive unit to it that you're like, I'm going to bring out and you're going to bring out the best in me. Meanwhile, I'm going to try to bring out the best in you. And everybody's kind of bringing out the best in one another.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like good leaders try to help who they have around them as much as they possibly can. Yeah. It's like to be a good leader, you've got to serve more than everybody else around you. And I'm not always great at that. And I've met those lead singers that, they're like, oh, well, you're gonna. It's like, man, if you respect the people that you're working with, you don't have to act like that.
Right.
And people that act like that are scared. The only reason people act like that is because they're afraid that they could possibly be wrong or steering it down the wrong path, and they're overcompensating with, all that anger and controlling, and I have to have my hands on every little thing, man. I love to be able to write a song and go, you know what? I think this song doesn't suck, and just send it to the guys and go, cool, write a part. Yeah. Like write a part and you put yourself into it and do it. I mean, because it just makes your life so much easier, right. When you trust the people that you work with and that you're trying to do your best and the most you can to help everybody that you're working with, but when you trust them, it makes your life easier because you can go, hey, I think you're great at what you do. That's why I wanted to work with you. You're a great person. You're great at what you do. So here's this piece of this thing that you're going to be way better at than me. Right. And so if I want to, if I'm chasing the dragon, if I'm chasing the best song, if I'm chasing the best experience musically, the best experience for the crowd, the best experience for me singing up on stage, I'm going to go, I want the guy that knows one hell of a lot more than I do right. to be in charge of that part of it,
Yeah. And how important is that trust? Because there's enough bullshit you have to deal with on the day-to-day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's nice to not have to worry about that. Like, I trust my guys to do their best. I'm doing my best. It's one less thing I got to fucking worry about when it comes to all the other things, whether it's, lining up shows or, deadlines and getting to the right place and all the other stuff. You got to, to have that level of trust in your, on your team. Really?
Yeah, there's so much bullshit in this industry. I mean, you know that, but I'm sure you probably know that better than I do, working on the radio side of things.
It's very eye-opening, like to me. I've always, and not always been, a fan of, underdog is not the right word, but my passion for music I've had since I was little. My very musically inclined family, that did not drip down into this. Their ability to consume alcohol did. So, I guess I got the raw end of that stick, but, but always a fan of music, always was into it, and always was very eclectic about my musical stylings and what I was into. I worked in country radio, worked in rock radio, worked in classic rock radio, worked in all these different genres and stuff.
Right.
And from all the artists I met, got a chance to interview, some of the biggest in the world and some that, just picked up a guitar and wrote their first song and were doing their first show. For me, the realness of an artist, my belief in an artist is what I call them being tangible, them being real.
Sure.
Them being the guys that if they're playing a festival, probably playing early in the day or they're playing on a side stage, but you will see them at their merch table or somewhere interacting with the fans until there's no more fans left to interact with.
100%.
And so that I get it. We talked about the levels.
Yep.
It's tough for a level to hang out at the artist booth and do things. So I understand that it's just a different animal they have to deal with. But there's a certain point when you lose the understanding of what that is, of what that fan interaction is. When there's none on the stage, when you're kind of up there and then you pack it in and you're on the bus and you're going to the next place. Right. I get it. You worked there to get up there, but there's less bullshit.
Yes.
There's less bullshit when you can tell that you still have a passion for it. And there are A-list artists that still have this drive and this passion and this real fan interaction. They want to do as much as they can. They understand that there are limitations, whether it's a security reason, whether it's because they have people in place that are like, your job is to be the wall between me and bullshit and stop all the bullshit. But that can get in the way of that fan interaction. There are still artists out there that are like that. But man,
which is why I said, like, I guess that because when you were saying they kind of have an excuse when they're A-list, it's like, I guess, but I mean, dude, if Garth can sit and stay and sign everything that somebody wants signed show, after show, I know he doesn't do it for everything. I'm sure he doesn't, because how could you? It's not feasible. It's not real. Right. But to actually make the effort to go, hey, those are the people that got me here, because I don't give shit whatever level you're at, whether you're, super A-list going to be famous for the next 100 years, or, whether you're playing on Broadway. If somebody wants you to sign something, if somebody wants you to take a picture, like, you do that because you've got to show those people that you appreciate them, because those are the people that put you wherever you're at. The people that are willing to download a song on Spotify they hadn't heard, or come to a show that they for an artist that isn't on the radio, or even if they are, if they're huge, if they're massive, without those stadiums full, without those people buying those tickets, then the A-list artist ability to be an asshole drops to zero.
so sorry, you are no longer welcome in Applebee's, sir. No mas.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Without the fan support, those people wouldn't even be able to act like that in the first place. So it's like, man, like, I feel like you got to appreciate the people that got you there.
One of my blessings, and again, I did 22 years in radio, from being a teenager to very much not being a teenager anymore. Grew up, watched the industry change and stuff. The craziest part that took me, I think, that first year being out, was I discovered more artists, more music, more stylings of music that I really fucking liked.
Yep.
After I got out. It was,
I believe that.
It was this like I was a guy, program director, who supported like the unsigned acts that would come to town. I'm like, dude, we're going to play your song. And if it's a fucking good song, it deserves to be in my rotation and it will get there. I didn't base shit off of the charts. I was like, no, this is a good song. It resonates with our fan base.
Right.
But it was amazing to me. Like, holy shit. Like, there's this whole, how do you think I found Warren Garrett? Scrolling through Instagram on a 30-second clip of him playing one of his, original songs live somewhere. I'm like, I got to talk to that motherfucker.
Dude, I appreciate the hell out of it. I really do. I mean, because I know I even said it at Old Red, after a couple of whiskey drinks she bought us. But
it's a couple. It was just a couple. It was a school night.
It was just a couple. I mean, we didn't have that. I mean,
I don't even like Warren. I don't even like numbers. I'm not a numbers guy.
Yeah,
that's why I talk for a living.
I'm real bad at geography, man. I didn't even pass the class.
It.
But yeah, I remember telling people in the crowd, it's like, hey man, my buddy Coop's here. It's like he supports supports musicians and acts and artists that don't necessarily get the voice that comes with a record label, or just with having a shit ton of money.
Right. Makes it easy.
And how much I appreciated that, because I appreciate you, and I appreciate people like you that actually give. That they go out and find artists, and whether or not it's me or my buddies or whatever, I don't care if people are going out and finding the artists that they love, the artists that they like, to listen to, then that's the beauty of it. That's art, dude. That's what it was supposed to be.
Right.
You know, if you go to an art gallery and just see one artist the entire time, you're probably not going to enjoy that art gallery very much. But if you get to see 50 artists, you're probably going to find 2 or 3 that you're like, holy shit, that's awesome. That connects with me. You know, and I could not have picked the subject that I was further from. I have been to an art gallery twice in my life, so I don't know why I used that example, but that's the one that came to my mind as far as
who knew. Yeah. Warren Garrett, art aficionado.
No,
huge.
No, because somebody's gonna email me.
Oh, what are you, Picasso now? What do you got? Cut your ear off?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah, somebody's gonna know. Yeah, is it Mr. Painter guy?
That's
and
I bring up Picasso
they're
is the
call me.
He's the only fucking artist I know. Picasso's the only like.
No, I'd see. What I was afraid of is that somebody was going to call me and be like, "Oh, would you like to play the opening of my art gala?" I'm like, "No, I really don't,
dude.
You've never met me. You have to listen to me first."
Hold up. I have a great idea.
Oh no!
Book that fucking show. Book that show. Like fucking play along right up to the end, and then we're gonna film this shit, and you're gonna wait. You're going to wait till they start, they're popping the champagne and they got, the caviar and shit is all out. And then we're just going to rock the faces off and
absolutely.
Just going to record the melee and it's going to go viral. And then it'll be bigger.
That would be the single best PR stunt in the history of dumbass PR stunts.
Absolutely, Miffy. We will play your grand opening of your gala.
Pinky out.
Dude, my buddy Juan Cooper will be there to document the whole thing. Cherry out. I don't know why. They're
Duke Cooper.
Duke Cooper. Hey, I'm the Duke. I don't know why. There's a lot of Brits. There's a lot of Brits down there in Nashville opening up art gallery.
Apparently.
We love it down here. Except for the snow. We don't understand. It's a bugger. Is what it is. I feel
real bad for anybody that's running on a treadmill right now listening to this podcast and they tuned in at the weird British art gala part. And like, what in the hell are these two talking about?
I feel like I pressed the wrong button on Spotify. Like, from the what? Like, I don't understand. It's weird.
It's the last time I shuffle anything.
so sorry, but we are still on Spotify. They haven't banned us yet, so I feel
sweet.
Me and Rogan. Me and Rogan.
I was about to say, nobody gives a shit what Neil Young thinks, man. Dude, my favorite quote out of that whole thing was both of Neil Young's Spotify listeners are going to be real mad that he's not on there anymore.
I saw there was a great meme too because it was like it was Neil Young and then like Joni Mitchell and then Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young.
Yep.
We're pulling all of our music off of Spotify, and they have a picture of an old woman with one of those big brick phones. They think the first ever cell phone that was on like Miami Vice back in like '92. How do I delete Spotify from this thing? Like a fucking rotary phone. Like I don't understand the buttons. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't understand. Buttons are weird.
This is
strange. I mean, I don't know, man. Like
world's crazy.
As far as it is. The world's insane. But you and Rogan holding strong, and I think people should let people just be themselves and not try to control them.
It seems pretty simple. I feel like this is written down somewhere on a document written many years ago. That
sounds real familiar.
Declaration of it'll come to me.
What is it?
It'll come to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Picasso.
Institutionalization.
Yes, Picasso.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Declaration of Picasso.
It's in that art gallery. Declaration of Picasso.
Can't wait. I can't wait till you open that thing up, man. That's gonna be great. We're here for the opening.
Absolutely.
Please present Sir Warren Garrett and his band of miscreants.
And Duke Cooper.
Hello, everybody. Yeah. Let's talk about we touched on 2022 a little bit. And some things that you're working on. Like what I know when you and I talked at Old Red, we talked about new music and writing some stuff. Like what is, just for people that weren't there with us, but they should have been because that was a riot.
It was so much fun.
I just want to come back now. I want to come back, and I have to save money first. Then
come
back, and I can get my $11 beer. But
hey, don't worry about saving money. You can crash on my couch.
I'm in. I live here now. But like, what is?
I live here now.
It almost happened. When it was snowing in Nashville, we're like, well, the traffic's not going anywhere. I guess we just live here. So
just we're
find a
moving here. We
spot,
just live here
get
now.
that Airbnb back for another night. But like, what does the year look like for you? Like, I know you got some dates kind of sporadically out there. Are you looking to get out more? Like new music coming out? What's the plan for the year as we kind of get ramped up out of winter and into spring and summer?
Oh, which good Lord, this winter's been brutal. Yeah,
I can't say that. I spent 3 weeks of it in Florida, so it's been all good.
Yeah, super. Yeah. I feel super bad for you right now.
I can tell.
Like,
I can tell.
Golly, so much pity.
I get it.
But no, I mean, for me, man, music. Yeah. You know, it dawned on me. It's like, you know, you kind of get frustrated and you're like, oh, well, it's like, why is nobody seeing the artistry side of what I do or anything like that? And then, you know, when like those really simple facts just take a brick and break your nose with them. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what happened to me. And that brick was, hey, idiot, you've only got one song on Spotify. You know, you can't really be like, I don't know, why aren't I getting more listeners?
That's one more than Neil Young has. It's one more than Neil Young has on Spotify. It's up now. It's up now, Neil. Where you at?
Dude, I'm stealing that. I've got one more song than Neil Young does on Spotify.
Feel free. That one's free of charge.
Oh, that one's good. I like that one. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I can't, you know, I want people to know who I am. I want people to see my artistry. I want people to, you know, to have a chance to either love what we do or hate it. And I'm not giving them that chance if I'm not putting out music, you know? So that is the goal for this year. I've got a ton of songs that we're working with and working on and in the studio right now. So hopefully, I'm not going to set any kind of date or anything, but y'all keep an eye on us on, you know, late spring, early summer.
Yeah. And we'll be checking your website, WarrenGarrettMusic.com for that art gallery opening. Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
I just need to know.
It's just going to be a bunch of finger paintings that I did.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? Color by numbers, connect the dot shit. You know? Like when you go to a not so fancy restaurant and they give the kids menu out. I have a kid, so I know what it's like. And it's like, oh, look, you can color and you can do you know, connect the dots. And that works.
It works. That's like color. Yeah, just like coloring a little bit at a time. No, I'm going to set it up and just tell people it's a bunch of NFTs they can buy. So.
Bank, we're in. We still have to talk in British accents, though. That's the caveat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, brother. Well, tell people where they can find you on the social medias, and of course, I just mentioned the website, but WarrenGarrettMusic.com. Where can they find you and find your music? Your one song on Spotify.
My one song. It's man. It's Warren Garrett on Spotify. Warren Garrett Music on all the social stuff. Yeah, I think I try to keep it pretty simple, sweet. Keep an eye out on the spring, early summer. We're gonna have a lot of cool stuff out. Be working on a lot of cool stuff, and then hopefully some shows to show off that stuff.
Awesome.
Cool. I appreciate you having me, brother.
Dude, anytime. We'll get you back on, like I said, with the boys, and we'll go live and we'll talk about art and other things. Talk about
our favorite, how the art gallery's doing.
Our favorite Joni Mitchell song, and what else? A whole bunch of things. But I want to make sure that we make a trip back down to Nashville at some time. So we'll coordinate schedules at some point this year. Otherwise, if you happen to be, you know, traveling north, give me a holler, and we'll make it.
I don't think we're coming to Wisconsin. We've got Denver and Chicago on the books, and then I think we're going to spend some time in the studio. So.
All right. Well, if you need, you know, I'll find you a show. I'll find you.
Thanks, buddy. You might know a guy.
I open my own damn art gallery. Like, it'll be fine. It's cool. honey, we're getting into the art world. Cool. Yeah? No. Maybe not.
No.
We'll see what happens.
That's going to sit in the garage for 3 months,
This is like that fucking wall. She's now you and your ideas again. I get it.
You and your art ideas.
Keep my mouth shut from now on. Hey, buddy, so good to catch up with you and shoot the shit for the last hour plus. We'll get you back on here soon. And yeah, when shit starts to drop, man, we'll be sure to help you out how we can.
That would be awesome, brother. Always good talking to you, Coop.
Awesome.
Let me know when you're coming back down.
I will. Liver reset first.
You'll do a water cleanse first.
Yes. Oh, and I'm cleansed. Better. I'm away.
Ta-da. Ta-da.
Awesome, brother. Cannot say thank you enough for checking out the From the Captain's Quarters podcast. How can you help support the show? Well, it's easy. Wherever you are listening, whatever podcast platform you are jamming on, make sure you give us a 5-star review, leave a comment, and most importantly, share this episode with your friends, whether they're a musician, whether they're an entrepreneur, whoever they may be. They want to hear what we're talking about. So please share the show. That's how we grow. That's how we do cooler things. You can also help us by following us on our social medias, From the Captain's Quarters podcast on Instagram and on Facebook. Follow us, give us a like, do all the things, and we will be back soon with another episode for your listening pleasure. Bye.